Hello friends, welcome to Salesforce CRM Analytics video session 223. Basically in today's video, we will actually try to understand about the filtering aspects of date. Okay, so that is what we'll be dealing with, the dates part. So let's get started. So I will go to the Analytics Studio. I will click on this particular data set. Now over here, okay, let me, I mean, let me not bring any group by. Let's say I directly go for filters. Okay. And what I will say is for my created date, let's say I go uh, for example, let's say current year. Let's start with that. Okay. The current year. So now we will check in the backend. Okay. So here I will of course write the conditions that we have been doing till now. Okay. So date total records filtered by created date as filtered date in current year. Okay. That's the condition. Now we will check what is that SAQL and we will try to write that SAQL, okay, in the notepad. Okay, yeah, fine. So as you can see, we are loading the data set, right? Then we are filtering. Now just notice over here how we are doing, how they are doing for current year. So you have to give this aspect of date, okay? So what happens when you give this aspect of date as a function, that actually converts that into that whole date thing. So what I will write is like in the Google, we can search with date function in SAQL. Let us search over there and we will read through that document. Okay. So here is the date functions. Okay. So here, there's this function called date. Okay, date. So as you can see, this function returns a date that can be used in a filter. This function takes a year, a month, and a day dimension as input. So basically, this is that particular date that can be used in a filter. So to use this thing in a filter, we have to go for this date function. So that only we can use that in a filter. You must have seen when I was grouping by date, there was no requirement of doing that. But to use specifically as a filter, you have to use this function of date. So as written over here clearly, so maybe I can just paste it in my notepad as well. We can keep it as a reference. Okay, so always remember this part, that this date function which is there returns a date that can be used in a filter. Fine. So here if you see, that's how it's done. We are loading the data set. What we are saying, that created a year, month, and day, we are just putting the date functions, and through the date functions now we are comparing whether it's in current year or not. Okay, that is important. That is the condition which required once you use it in a filter. So as you can see, it's written in plain English in square brackets, current year dot current year, and then q equal to group q by all, and then for each q generate count q, because I'm not putting any group by, just a filter condition I need to pay. So that's how it is done. So I think up till here everything is fine. We are able to write, I'm able to write the first step. The second step is something which I have to remember, that from this date I have to get this created it in, and in the square bracket I have to give current year dot current year. Okay. Now, of course, let's practice this and we will check if it's matching or not. So the records I see is 5, and now we will test this one, okay, by creating in current year. So q equal to, firstly, load. I will give that name. So that is recipe data set account. Then, of course, q equal to filter q by, I will give this date function, and here I will have all the things. So created, I think this, yeah, created date underscore year. Okay, so we created it underscore year. So basically it will be created it underscore year, then created it underscore month, created underscore day. Okay, and in we will write in bracket current year dot current year. Okay. So then what I'll be doing is q equal to group q by all, And then of course the generate queue equal to for each queue generate generate count of queue as a, and finally I have the limit queue equal to limit queue, sorry, 2000. Okay, and I think I've made a mistake over here. It will be all. Okay, so that's the thing. So q equal to load, I am loading the recipe data set. Q equal to filter q by, I am putting this date function and this created underscore your created underscore and created underscore date. This is the field name of the date. It can be any date. Okay, in our case, this is the API name for that created date. And in I have to give in circular, sorry, in square bracket the current year dot dot current year, and that's how it should be. I think everything else is fine. Now what I will do, I will directly paste it over here. What happened? Yeah. So I will directly paste it here and let's see. So as you can see, it's showing me 5 records, which is matching as well. That's 5. So that is, this is executed properly. Okay, the current year and current year, fine. And similarly, in this way, you need to practice for others also. So let's try one more scenario. Let's say I try for, I'm just going for count of rows. I will try for created date, and let's say I go for something like uh, let's say I go for previous month right now. Okay, so we will see how it happens for previous month. So I will just write the same condition. Okay, and here I will write for in previous month. Okay, so now see, there is no data, that is fine. That is not our concern right now. There can be no data which I've created. But right now, the thing is that we have to check how it's working on the SAQL mode. Okay, that's the whole thing. So for previous month, this is the way it's done. Again, the date part is there as it is. And int, I just have to write 1 month ago and 1 month ago. That's it. Okay, that's how it is done. If you see, rest of the things remains the same. So that is the thing. Now we will try it out. Okay. So q equal to load q. I will get the recipe underscore account underscore dataset. Then q equal to filter q by date. I will just write that condition. I will get q equal to group q by all, and here q equal to for each q generate uh, q dot yeah, sorry, not q dot, because I'm just displaying the count. So count of q as a, and q equal to limit q. So q equal to load, sorry, this will be load, sorry. So q equal to load this name, q equal to filter q by date created underscore year month in 1 month ago to 1 month ago, q equal to group q by all, this is also fine, and q equal to for each q generate count of q as a. So I will copy this and I will just paste it over here and see whether it's running or not. As you can see, it's running perfectly fine. There are no records, that is fine, but this query is running perfectly fine. Okay, so that is the thing about previous month. Okay, so that way you can keep on practicing. So let's try for something like, let's say I put a filter on let us say we try for something like uh, yeah, maybe next week. Okay, let's try for next week. So I'm giving the future date, that is okay. So I know that created is not possible, but anyways, let's try. We are more interested in writing the code right now. Okay, so I think here I could have given the close date for opportunity, but anyways, since we are dealing with account, let's go for that. And I will get created in next, which is not possible. I know practically it's not possible, but the idea is to write the code right now. Okay, nothing else. So again, I will hide the above, and we will quickly check how this is done, and then we will try to apply ourselves. So again, Q equal to load group Q. I'm not walking through that. The main thing is that this date, what is written, I have to write 1 week ahead and 1 week ahead. Is to 1 week ahead, is to 1 week ahead. Okay. So earlier I used to write ago. Here I have to write 1 week ahead. Okay. So that ahead is the main word over here. Okay. So now let's start once again. Okay. So Q equal to load. Then Q equal to, I will give the filter condition a bit later. So Q equal to group Q by all. Okay. Then I have Q equal to for each Q generate count of, so count of Q as A, and Q equal to limit Q 2000. Fine. And here I will just write the filter condition very quickly. Filter Q by date. And here what I'm going to write is created date underscore year, comma, created date underscore month, and comma, created date underscore day. Okay. In, and in square bracket I'm going to write, so here it will be, so it's 1 week ago to 1 week ago. Okay. So let's see over here. So Q equal to load, Q equal to filter Q by date, in Q equal to group Q, Q equal to for each Q, generate count of Q as A. And I think this is perfectly fine. Everything's okay. I haven't put a semicolon. So yeah, it's perfectly fine right now. So now we will execute this one. Okay. So I'm going to this one. I'm just writing over here. And as you can see, this is matching perfect. Oh, sorry. One thing I missed. I made a mistake. Okay, I made a mistake. I'm sorry. Here, I hope I have written next week. Okay, next week this should be ahead. Okay, so that's a mistake from my end. Right? I have realized that's a mistake from my end. It should be ahead, not ago. I think I got too much excited. So here it should be not ago. It should be ahead. Okay. So yeah, that is one thing which I didn't have not written properly. That's a mistake I have made actually. Fine. So that's a mistake. I realized that, and I have to keep in mind that when it comes to future date, you have to write ahead. Okay, so of course it wouldn't hamper the result, but that's the way to write ahead. Okay, that's not ago. Fine, that is something to keep in mind. So yeah, when it comes to the previous, you have to write ago, and when it comes to the future date, you have to write ahead. That's it. And the one you can write in numbers, that is fine. And for current year, you can just write this current word itself. Okay, so for current, it's like current, you have to write. If it is previous month or previous week, you have to mention this ago. And if it is further ahead, next week or next month, you have to mention this ahead. That's it about this date one. We will continue more practice on date. Okay.